Today at Live on Purpose TV, the top 10 ways to become a better parent. There's a lot of ways to be a better parent. We're going to count down the top 10 today.
Okay.
Does that sound good to you, Vicki? So number 10, coming in at number 10, build a community. This has to do with, I think, something that is so true, Vicki, and you've noticed this as well. It takes a team.
Yeah, it does.
You've got your spouse, for example, if you're married. Now, I know that some of you are single parents, and
yeah,
wow.
It's so important to realize that your team is going to be different depending on your life circumstances. But you have to build a team. Either way, build your team. Whether it be your mom. I worked recently with a young woman who is being raised by her grandma and her mom. So that's the team, grandma and mom.
Right, but also the professionals who are on your team. So Vicki, you work as a speech pathologist at the school.
Right.
And you're part of that parenting team.
I
for
do
those
get on that team sometimes.
parents.
Yep.
We've got pediatricians. You've got us. We're on your team. We just spent some time putting together a parenting power-up audio course. We're on your team.
So build up your team. Number 9, get education. Learn as much as you can about parenting tricks. Read magazines and ask and listen. You'll be surprised how many people have really great advice if you'll just ask them.
This is something that we don't typically get a lot of formal education about. Do you remember taking a parenting course in high school?
You just become a parent and suddenly you're supposed to know everything.
Right, but there's such a wealth of information out there,
Right.
like you were saying, Vicki. These YouTube videos are a good example, but also there's books and there's professionals and ways to get education so
and
that you know.
There's friends, there's parents, there's something that you can learn from everybody. Even if sometimes it's the way you don't want to do things, you can still learn that from someone. So get education everywhere you can.
You know what? I wanted to add one little piece here because you get to share some education too. The things that you're learning as a parent, what if you were to blog about that or share an insight that you had or comment on this video?
Right.
There's a lot of ways you can share your knowledge and brilliance as well. Okay, coming in at number 8, listen and observe. What I'm getting at here is that sometimes as a parent we want to jump in, we want to intervene.
Really quickly, usually.
Yes. And it might be good to just pause a little bit. Just watch, listen, observe, take in a little bit more information.
Yeah, that's a great thing to always ask. A little, tell me more. Use that in your parenting skills and toolbox. Tell me more before you jump to conclusions or try to give an answer or a solution to a problem.
Love that skill, especially when we're working with kids who are trying to push the timing. Like, give me an answer now, give me an answer now. Well, just push the pause button, back up, tell me more about that.
Okay, number 7, get really good with consequences. And what we mean by that is to really understand what the issue is and set up a consequence that teaches what you want it to teach. So one of the things you want to get really clear with consequences is being sure that you have chosen and set up the consequence to be appropriate for the behavior.
And not let that tie your hands.
Right.
I've heard before, for example, that there should be a logical connection between the consequence and the behavior. Well, that's nice and convenient. I like the word you picked, Vicki, because if it's appropriate,
Right.
an appropriate level of intensity, for example, or the magnitude of it needs to be appropriate, but there doesn't have to be a logical match.
There are many things that you can't put a logical match to. So you have to do an external consequence, but it still needs to be appropriate for the behavior.
So get really good with consequences. When we talk about the 3 stages of moral development, look around in the Positive Parenting playlist here on the channel. You're going to see a lot of videos that are specific to different things. The consequences are important at both stage 1 and stage 2.
Right.
But there's a consequence for every choice. And what we want our kids to learn is the better my choices, the better my consequences. Okay, coming in at number 6 on our top 10 today is to separate the emotion from the discipline.
That's a tricky one.
It can be because we get so tied up in the emotional piece of this sometimes, that it actually distracts our kids from what we're trying to teach them.
And I think there's two pieces you're talking about right there. Separate your own emotion from the consequence, as well as the child's emotion from the consequence.
Right. What if we could make the discipline all business? And then take that emotion and let's throw it into the relationship. Because our number one job as a parent is...
to love them no matter what, and even if.
Yeah. We repeat that so often because that's really at the core of everything else that we talk about. So the emotion, we're going to just be very businesslike about the discipline. Put the motion instead into the relationship.
Number 5, celebrate the victories.
There's going to be a lot of losses.
A lot of challenges in parenting. So we need to celebrate every victory that we come across.
I get this a lot of times, sometimes in the comments on these videos, but also from my clients. Oh, I'm doing such a bad job as a parent. No, you're not. You're actually really rocking it. The fact that you're watching this video says something about you being a conscious, involved, intentional parent.
Right.
Good for you. Let's celebrate that for a moment. That is so awesome. And see that you're doing a good job. But this is also with your kids.
Right. Yeah, celebrate every little victory that they have, every time that they comply, every time that they show initiative or cooperation. Celebrate it.
Vicki, you work with special needs kids. Quite often you're part of the special education department over at the school. And it's especially important if our kids have some kind of limitations or they're not maybe performing at a typical level. It's easy to get very critical. It's even more important for them that you celebrate these little victories. All right, coming in at number 4, be willing to do the hard things.
That is a tough one for parenting.
Well, some of this parenting thing is just hard, and you have to be willing to do the hard things, especially as your kids get older. Teenagers, for example, it's really tempting to just want to be their friend.
Yeah.
Just be their buddy. You've got to still be the parent and being willing to do those hard things. But even at the level of cleaning up messes.
I remember so often as a parent, sometimes it's just easier to do it myself. But the hard thing was teaching my kids how to do it. That's the hard thing. Be willing to do the hard thing.
I believe, Vicki, that there's a correlation between hard, easy, and easy, hard. What this means, folks, is if you do the hard thing now, you're more likely to set up some circumstances that are easier on you later on. But if you do the easy thing now, you might be setting yourself up for some hard times down the road. So do the hard things. Be willing to do those hard things.
Okay, number 3 is so important. Take good care of yourself. And a lot of people think, wait, this is a parenting video. How am I helping my kids by taking good care of myself? But that is so important that we have to get our reserves filled before we can really show up and be the kind of parent that we really, truly want to be.
Do not expect your children to take care of you. At least not at this phase of life.
Right.
Maybe later on when you're an old fogey. But what we're talking about now is being the most functional, healthy parent that you can possibly be. And I get reminded of this every time I get on a plane. When they're going through the safety routine and they show you how to fasten a seatbelt in case you've been in a coma for 20 years. And there's this part where the oxygen masks come down from the ceiling and they say, put your own mask on first. Why? Well, if you're out cold in the aisle,
you're no help to anybody else.
Right. Yeah, you're actually in the way. You've become part of the problem. So as we apply that to parenting, you make sure you have your own mask on first. You take good care of yourself and figure out what needs to happen in order to put you in that position so that you can really show up for your kids. And then number 2, stay positive.
Surprise.
I know. You're hearing that from me, right? The positivity shrink. Stay positive. It is so easy to get sucked into negativity, and that just complicates everything as a parent.
I remember learning, I think I was in high school. I'd taken a child development class, and the teacher said, try to find as many opportunities to say yes, so that when you have to say no, it carries more weight. And so stay positive. Try to find out ways you can say yes to your kids. Yes, we can do that. Yes, you can go to so-and-so's house and then, lay the groundwork if there needs to be a room cleaned. But say yes,
Sure.
don't just say no.
It can be a yes if or a yes when.
Yeah.
Get to the yes. And that positive energy has you showing up as a more influential parent. It's
Right.
one of the best things that you can do to improve your position as a positive parent.
Okay, number one, folks, the best parenting tip we can give you is to love your kids no matter what and even if.
No matter what, and even if. This is your number one job as a parent. And there's a reason we saved it till the last, because this creates the context for everything else. Everything else that we talk about. You can watch the other videos on this channel and on the Positive Parenting playlist or in our Parenting Power Up audio course. We've given a lot of tips. It's nothing more than manipulation if you lose track of your number one job, which is to love them no matter what and even if. Let's all work together to become better parents. Make sure you check out the Parenting Power Up with me and Vicki. You'll connect to that right over here.